Hello, everyone. This is me and analyzing male slavery. And we just want to take a look at the shit show that has become Honey Badger Radio. I mean, this is incredible. This
Yeah,
is,
look, I've
yes?
criticised them in the past, right? And like, you think you know how bad something is, but then you find out how bad something is, and you realise, yeah, I didn't know how bad it
Oh
was.
my God. Like
This is bad.
this is as low, I think, as it gets. They're interviewing Reverend Jesse Lee Peterson. So he's a
Yeah,
reverend, so that doesn't help, you
yes.
know?
And here's the thing, right? If they go any lower, they're going to become outright Nazis, wearing swastikas. This is how
Yeah.
right wing they've become. I'm not being hysterical when I say this,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
So
Well, we're going to start, and you guys listening, be ready to be shocked. That's
They kind of tell what kind of work I do, but I'm just Jesse.
Okay, Jesse. Well, thank you for taking the time to come on the show.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, Brian. I appreciate it.
Oh, no, I appreciate it. So what I wanted to talk to you about is you have a slogan that you do basically at the end of every show where you say, you are fighting for the soul of America. And you are, I think it's rebuilding the family by rebuilding the man. Is that
Absolutely.
exactly?
okay. Right. This is a bad red flag all at once.
yes.
He's going to rebuild the family, and of course, the man's the problem.
Yeah. As soon as they start talking about the family unit, they're a tradcon obsessed with mate guarding. That's it.
Exactly.
Yeah,
That's all.
It's going to get worse. Trust.
Oh,
This is just a mild red flag that hints to what's to come.
yeah, exactly.
Yes.
We are rebuilding the family by rebuilding the man, and we are uniting the races with truth instead of dividing.
Let's pause.
Yeah.
Right, let's pause. Okay, you're not reuniting the family, right? The family unit, the condition of the family, the structure is whatever the woman wants it to be, right? She's at the center. And if she wants a nuclear family, she's going to have a nuclear family. If she wants to be a single mother, she's going to be a single mother. If she wants to sleep with 5 different men, she's going to sleep with 5 different men. If she wants to boot the kids out, she's going to boot the kids out. If she wants to kill a baby and call postpartum depression, she can do that. If she wants to abort, she can abort. If she wants to put up for adoption, she can put up for adoption, right? If she wants to boot the father out and get another man to provide instead, a stepfather, she can do that, all right? It's the woman who gets to decide the setup 100%.
Yeah, like these guys are not, they're going to talk about saving the family unit, but they're not going to say what they're actually going to have to advocate for.
Yes.
Which is, yeah, go ahead.
It's based on emotions, basically. They want something, they don't know how to get it, they don't understand basic cause and effect, so they're just going to rant about the family unit and blame others. That's it.
Exactly.
Yes. And so I wanted to talk a little bit about that. Now, a little bit about me. I'm the producer here, and I do conduct a majority of the interviews with guests. But I'm also you could see that I'm Latino. I'm from Puerto Rico originally, my family. I live.
Oh, by the way, analyzing, the women were the unit, the heart of this Honey Badger Radio. And so just to have like someone like Brian Martinez take over, I mean, it just goes to show you that it's a big failure. I'm sorry, but yes, go ahead.
The women don't care. Like Hannah Wallen, who's part of Honey Badger Radio, right? I think a Twitter named like I hate communists or something like that. Like it shows that they've lost their focus, so to speak. It's just anti-communism. Look, I don't like communism. I'm not a fan of Marxism, right? It's got some serious flaws. But to rant on against Marxism and call liberals and Democrats Marxists shows that you're deranged. There is no Marxists in the USA in power. They're not the cause of anything that's going on. So you might as well like rant against Martians. I hate Martians.
Yes.
Same thing.
The lizard man.
Yes.
Live in Chicago on the west side, and I've seen the worst of this city. Do you remember Cabrini Green? You ever heard of that place?
I have heard of it, yes.
Yeah, so it was like the toughest projects in the city. And I used to go to school about 2 blocks from there, and there were shootings every day. This was in the late 80s and in the 90s. So to me, this conversation about masculinity and about the family unit is very important to me. And I know
like how, shootings every day. So how are they going to the family unit and all this business? They don't connect.
Yeah, the family unit. Okay, yes. Well, they sort of single motherhood is a big disaster. That does sort of seem to feed into crime, right?
Yes.
But here's the thing: these guys in the video, they don't talk about shared parenting, right? Because that would mean reducing the power of the female and reducing her gender role. So they're not going to talk about that. So they're going to basically hint that men and women need to get back together and all this sort of nonsense. But let's carry on.
Yeah.
Over the political spectrum, but it seems like I always have a much easier time getting on more right-wing, libertarian, conservative people like yourself on the show. So when you say rebuilding the man, what do you mean by that?
Well, what we're doing is we're bringing back the order of God. The order is God in Christ, Christ in man, man over woman, and woman over children. And until
look at this now. Man over woman, like if that, they're hoping that women will be going to church and listen.
Yeah.
Women go to church. They're not going to give up any kind of power they have over the family unit for these losers.
Yeah, there's a couple of problems. What it says, man over woman. All right, show me a country where men get to stay home and send the women out to work, and the men get to parasite off them, right? And if there's any country in the world, any place in the world where that happens, that is a place where there's a men over women, right? Unless you have that going on, it's the woman over the man. The man's the slave. And you can also, here's the thing, woman over children. So this is gender roles. It's up to the woman to raise the children while the man's out working like a slave.
Yeah.
It's just typical Shadcon dribble. It's like
where does that leave single fathers too? Like, I mean,
yes. Well, the single father should be dead, probably, according to these nut jobs, because they don't.
Yeah.
These guys don't like welfare, so they want low status men to die, basically, by implication.
Yes, of course. They don't care about the single. Well, this is what I was saying earlier: is that they would have to advocate for limitations on women's actions and freedoms, and they're never going to do that.
Yes.
Till we bring that back, things are only going to get worse instead of getting better, because when women are over the children or over men, things only get worse, because women, it's not within a woman to lead, it's in her to follow. And right now, when kids are born out of wedlock, or you have women in government or women bosses.
Well, no, wedlock doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, well, first of all, the woman could get divorced, right? I'm pretty sure at least 50% of single mothers were married at one point, right? Like my mother was married at one point, and she became a single mother. So, okay, so what does marriage do? These mentally defective tradcons, right? They're so fucking obsessed with marriage, and yeah, but what about divorce? Because they're so obsessed with marriage, because especially the religious ones, it's good because of religion. Right? They just want to get married. They can't think of anything else. They're crazy.
Yeah, they're very one track. Unless they're going to do something about divorce, then marriage doesn't mean anything.
Yes.
Okay.
They're going to always lead you down the wrong path. And there are a lot of guys who are following women, and as a result, they're suffering for it. And I saw that happen with the black family. When I was growing up, it was abnormal, even though you would see it once in a while, for children to be born out of wedlock. They always had a father, and they had grandparents around who were married.
Yeah, but that was the past. Every generation.
Economic conditions are different. That's why. That's why it's the past.
Exactly.
The thing is, women needed providers around. The welfare state was weaker, so there's extended family support network, right? relatives weren't such an economic liability. They were like pooling resources. As soon as the economic utility of the family, extended family, was over, it ended. Women wanted control. They wanted it to center around themselves. They ended it. It's women who ended it. And men who are submissive, who pander to women, who worship women, they're not leaders, right? These submissive men, which is a typical man, right? Especially right-wing men, right? Let me emphasize that, because they're into rigid gender roles where men conform, right? These men pander to women, full stop, right? The women are in charge. I just want to emphasize that.
Exactly. I mean, these things got the way they did because men pandered to them. All these guys who talk about it just said, well, the women demanded and they gave it to them. So
yes.
Because the fathers.
You let him know that your audio is sounding blown out.
Oh, tell him you. I'm sorry, you're having some audio problem. They're telling me.
It's okay. I mean, yeah, it's fine. This is what happens on a live show, right?
Oh, sorry, blown up. You okay with it?
Yeah, it's fine by me. I'll ask like people watching, if it sounds really bad, just let me know. Tag me in a comment.
Oh, good.
It sounds good to me.
And so when I was growing up, it was abnormal for children to be born out of wedlock. They would get married. Matter of fact, my mother got pregnant with my father when they were dating, and when she told him about it, he denied it. And so she became angry at him. Didn't want anything to do with him. But she got married to my stepfather before I was born, so that I would not be born out of wedlock.
Paul, I want to pause here.
Yeah.
I actually like this. The guy banged her, got her pregnant, right? I said, nah, I don't want to take responsibility. Fuck off.
Yeah.
That's great, actually. That's great. And she found some other idiot to take responsibility. So look, and you know what? She should have checked this guy first, because she probably wanted a relationship with him, right? So started banging with him and said, yeah, the pregnancy is going to happen. I've got my claws in him. And he just turned around and went, nope, not happening.
Yeah.
She should have checked beforehand if he wanted a kid, right? Ask for consent. And this is why men need complete freedom from parental responsibilities. It's got to be completely voluntary. Women can abandon their kids, so should men. Look, if any woman's listening to this, there's something called consent. I know this is alien concept to you when it comes to men, right? If you're banging a man and you're trying to have a baby with him, at least check, right, if he wants one too. Yeah?
100%. But just before we go on, I just want to point out, I don't know how many subs to the Honey Badgers, but 8.64K for their live streams is garbage.
That's pretty typical, though. That's appeal to popularity fallacy. Let's not focus on that. It's irrelevant. Okay. They're still the biggest men's rights channel on YouTube.
Yeah, okay.
God, they believed in marriage. There was no such thing as abortions and all this crap that you see happening now.
Stop.
Hold on. No, abortions have always been around. And I'd also like to point out that the word bastard has been around since the Dark Ages, or even before the Dark Ages.
Yes, so, all conservatives offer a false, nostalgic, romantic view of the past. It's very typical of them. It's a fantasy. There were back alley abortions. There was baby farms in the 19th century. Women just dropped babies off with a nanny, basically for the babies to die due to neglect. They just wanted it out of their mind, not have to do it themselves. So the nanny took care of it, basically, right? Okay. Let me give you an example. The Mason family, or the Manson family, right? They were having group sex all the time. They were giving birth, and they weren't having abortions. They were just letting babies die as soon as they were born and just got rid of them.
Oh
yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Yeah. So okay. And the thing is, these guys don't want welfare. So they want these big families, women shitting out kids. Yeah. They're lunatics. They're lunatics.
Exactly. Because they don't care about the children. We say this all the time. These TradCon losers do not care about the children. You know, because if they did, then they wouldn't let women just throw the man out and use child support. That's another thing, you TradCon losers. If you're for child support, you are against the family unit.
Yes.
And then the civil rights movement came along. And the worst thing that ever happened to black people was the civil rights movement. Number one, there's no such thing
Jesus Christ.
Number two is that what they did was the so-called leaders of the civil rights movement, they sold the blacks to the Democratic Party so that the Democratic Party can become the daddy of the family, and the black leaders like Jesse Jackson and all those crooked people became the head of the people. And
let's pause this.
Yeah, hold on. What? Oh my God! I don't know where to start with this. I mean, the civil rights movement was basically a conspiracy to him.
Yes, but here's the thing. Big Daddy government. He's such a mental defect. He's such a mate-guarding lunatic. He sees the government as a threat to the family unit. So, the government's replacing fathers. So you need a government, you need laws, you need regulations, you need infrastructure, right? You need a big government. Big government is actually good. It does more things, right? This American obsession with big government, it's just misleading anyway, because all these, this guy's pro-military, by the way. All these guys support a big military, so they're pro-government as well. So they should stop being hypocrites. But even if the government was causing the family to break down, right? Okay, I'd rather have the government than the family, to be honest. The government's better than the family. Otherwise, it wouldn't be replacing the family, would it?
Yeah, exactly.
Women, yeah, like, look, single men, they need affirmative action, they need jobs, they need welfare, they need universal income, they need health services, they need support networks, they need big government. It's just that simple.
Exactly, because you know something? Because people don't want to look after strange men.
Yes, and here's another thing as well. These tradcons, right? They're so desperate to get the woman, right? This is what they do. Oh, the big government's giving women stuff, you know. They won't go with me. They're undermining my provider position. That means they're so deranged, they're so desperate, they're so lacking in self-respect. They want women put in poverty, right? So they'll be forced to be with them. Women that don't give a rat's ass about them are just using them. They want women to be put in that position. And he wants to be used. It's insane when you think about it.
Oh, yeah. It's just no self-respect at all. I mean, we've talked about that with the turd-flinging monkey. He has that same desire. He wants the women, they don't have what it takes to say we have to put controls over people's, women's, actions or attitudes. But we'll screw up the government just so that they'll be impoverished and maybe they'll come and stay with me. But I mean, in the meanwhile, these women, like you say, they don't care about these guys. They're only there because they have nowhere else to go. Who would want that? Well, we know who would want it. These losers want it.
Yes.
To the Democratic Party, they had to take the man out of the home. They said, well, you can't have a father, you can't have a man in the home. And
stop. This is just lies, right? For example, Ronald Reagan was the first American governor to bring in no-fault divorce, right?
That's right.
The government didn't go to women, right? You got to kick the father out the home. They never said that to women, right? Women wanted no-fault divorce, right? But they still wanted to get married because it was good for them, right? They just demanded better terms than marriage. They wanted alimony to be increased. They wanted better divorce terms. They wanted no-fault divorce, right? It's women booting the men away. It's nothing to do with the government, right? So there's nothing that government does that boots men away except what women wants them to do. That's it.
Yeah. And Ronald Reagan was a right-winger, by the way.
For whatever reason. And when they did that, they broke up the family. And the government became the daddy, and the so-called black leadership became the head of the people, and it's been downhill ever since. And so now and the kids were being raised by women only, for the most part. And if you notice, the black boys and girls, and even the adult boys and girls act just like women. They act just like their mama. They're angry, they're insecure, they have doubt, they have fear.
Now, this is another thing. It's like, men don't feel anger or insecurity. Like, come on, dude.
The suicidal thoughts and depression and anxiety, that's the nature of a woman, because you become like your mother. When she raised you, you become like what you hate. and mothers tend to impose their will upon the children and turn them away from the fathers. And that's why you
Actually,
have
this is about the only truthful thing he's said so far.
Yeah,
basically.
exactly. Exactly.
black
And because women have got, the thing is, women are socially dominant. They've been in charge of the family unit, and they still are in charge of the family unit. That's it. They value their social dominance, having their way over anything else.
That's right.
That's why. Yeah.
people, they're suffering not because of this phony idea of or slavery or Jim Crow.
Hold on. Phony idea of slavery. Slavery didn't exist to this guy?
Yeah. Jim Crow is a conspiracy or something.
Oh my God. Like, for a modern day man, especially a black man, to say something like this, it's amazing.
You know what black people call a guy like this? They call him an Uncle Tom, a sellout. You know, there's a movie called Dago Unchained,
yes,
right? Or Jago Unchained. Samuel L. Jackson plays the groveling black servant to the white master. This guy reminds me of him a little bit.
Yeah, I wish I had seen that. I can't comment on it.
You should see it. It's a good movie, actually. But.
Yeah, exactly.
This is or police brutality. It's all a lie. They're suffering because they're
pause.
Police brutality is a lie?
Okay. White men are 20 times more likely to die from police brutality than women. And black men, it's like 50, I don't know, it's like 100 times more likely to die than white women. Something ridiculous like that. But let's forget about the racial issue. There's been police caught on camera beating white men to death, right?
Yeah.
Okay. What was that recent police killing? That black man who had a knee in the back of his neck while he was cuffed on the floor. He choked to death.
I can't remember. I think they mentioned him later on in the live stream.
Yeah, they do. But here's the thing. Honey Badger Radio already did a hangout defending what the police did, right? And they showed the black guy acting up. And to be honest, he did seem like a scumbag, according to his past history. It showed him acting up, freaking out. But he wasn't attacking people directly. He was just like acting up and didn't want to get in the car. And he was already handcuffed, right? And he was talking about how bad his character was. He didn't obey the police, all irrelevant stuff. It's completely irrelevant. The police should be able to arrest people without putting a knee in the back of their neck and choking them to death. It's just as simple as that.
This common sense.
It's common sense. Look, I don't care if someone's been caught chopping up loads of people, a serial killer. You should be able to arrest him without putting your knee in the back of his neck, right? He's already handcuffed. He's already arrested. You don't put the knee in the back of his neck, no matter what you think of the person. And Honey Badger Radio defending the police doing that, right, shows you what right-wing lowlives they are, what hypocrites they are. And how many men have died by the police when they're getting arrested for not paying child support? It's probably happened quite a lot. Yeah?
Yeah.
So I'm sorry, I'm really disgusted at Honey Badger Radio.
Well, this is a new low to me. So I mean it's well, let's hear some more.
Away from their fathers by their mothers. And now the women are trying to lead the boys and girls, and things are only getting worse. And it's not going to change until we get the men to forgive their mothers for turning them away from their fathers and love them.
Now, listen to this. How is reconciling with their mothers going to overcome female dominance of the family?
Yeah, so you go. So basically, the woman kicks you out, and you give her a phone call. Look, I've forgiven my mother. What? Fuck off. Slam. She's not going to give a shit. The thing is, this is emotional thinking by a religious nutcase. These tradcons do not understand basic cause and effect. So that's why I call them mental defects, because they are. If you don't understand cause and effect, how reality works, you're just a lunatic.
By the way, these are the same people who would describe other people as emotional leftists. Or emotional thinking. You know, there's not one iota of logic that I've heard yet from these guys.
All right-wing accusations are projection, that's why. Yeah. Unfortunately.
They're the emotional tampons. Wrong. Oh, my God. Anyway, let's hear some more of this.
their fathers, and then things will get back in order because no longer will the woman be the man's God. The man will be over her. She won't be over him. And that's what's happening with black people, with Hispanic people, and now they're trying to do that with the white family. They want to turn the white man away from his children so they can take over the women and children.
Wow, someone wants to take over the women and children.
Yeah. So white women have already been booting men out from the family unit. What's this idiot waffling on about? Yeah. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Who is the, I don't know, who is the, what is it, the Marxist or the Jews or the reptilian man? I mean, who is it behind this? Who's the boogeyman that wants to control the women and children? I mean, these guys that get booted out, if they get booted out, they have no control anyway.
Mm-hmm. The thing is, they never advocate for a solution to equal shared parenting, because equal shared parenting means you don't force the man and woman to be together, but you give the man the right to have a relationship with his kids outside of the mother's whims. He gets 50% of the time. And the Tracon men don't want that. They don't advocate for that because, first of all, they think the government will pay for it. They'll pay for the welfare, right? And second of all, it won't bring the family unit back together again. And that's all they care about.
Yes, exactly. It's the woman. That's why guys like this pay child support so readily. They don't care about the children. They care about having this woman around. Matter of fact, they'll pay the child support in the desperate hope that it'll be like a lifeline to special mommy. That
No, they pay the child support because they're cowards. That's why, and they just hope they have enough left over to get the new woman. That's it.
Exactly.
So we got to bring back that order, rebuilding the family by rebuilding the man. Bring them back to God in Christ, Christ is man, man over woman, and woman over children. If we don't do that, it's only going to get worse rather than getting better. And any man who has anger is a woman. He is his mother. So that's why he has to overcome her by forgiving her.
Oh, yeah. Any man who has anger is his mother.
So, first of all, so he's saying every single alienated father, every single divorced man, every single one of them has anger against his mother, right? So, what? So there's plenty of men who have good relationships with their mother. They get married and they get divorced, right? Yeah. And they're alienated from the kids. So what's this guy even on about? It's what? I don't know what to say. It's just so blatantly false.
That's what I mean. This is, and Brian.
I think all right. I'm trying to figure out what this guy believes. I think this is what this guy believes. So if you forgive your mother, you don't have hatred in your heart. God's going to see this. He's going to come down from the heavens and fix everything from you. Is that what he believes?
Well, the second coming hasn't happened yet. So
yes.
And God will forgive him.
Okay. So yeah, yeah, no. But
pause. I could imagine this scenario, right? This man has forgiveness in his heart. God comes down from heaven and says, "I forgive you," and the Tradcon Christian's going to go, "Wow, thanks God. Now, can I have my woman back?" He goes, "No, but I forgive you though." And he goes, "Fuck you, God. I just want the woman. Give me my woman."
You're not giving. Where's my 72 virgins, God? You know. I thought we had a covenant.
Makes a lot of sense where you're coming from. I do want to go back to some of the things you said, and let's see if we can unpack them a little bit. So I got some questions. When you say that in the 60s, during the civil rights movement, and I do want to get into your issues with the civil rights movement itself, but first, you were saying that there was a deal that was made, essentially, with the black community, that they would say, we will give you, essentially, welfare. We'll support you. We'll replace the man. The government will replace the man in the home if you kick the man out of the home, right?
This has nothing to do with the civil rights movement.
Right, so it's ranting against welfare. So I don't think there was ever this deal, like, we'll give you welfare if you kick the man out of the home. Like, that never happened. What? Okay. But in fact, the first women demanding divorce were rich women, right? Okay. So I don't know what so the narrative they're just spewing out is just completely false.
Yeah.
So, look, the government doesn't care about the man at the home one way or the other. They're not out to get the man at the home. They're just out to give the women what they want, right? like, look, all these rich upper class feminists, they all get married to rich men, or almost all of them, right? So it's not about kicking a man out of the home. It's about having a man on her terms 100%, her way 100%. That's it.
Yes. I mean, like if you got a rich man, you get rid of him. You don't have to deal with him anymore, but he pays alimony.
Yeah.
So you got his money. You got his money, you don't have to deal with him. And
So
also
what this
say,
is, do you know what this is? This is women engaging with the government, demanding stuff from the government, and getting stuff from them, while men don't do anything because they're passive and reactive, like these right-wing losers.
yes, exactly.
And
These
I've got to say
guys-
shame.
yeah.
I've got to say shame on Brian for enabling this nonsense. Because look, if there was serious men's rights activists, they'll go, nope, we're not talking to this guy, or they'll at least be confrontational and challenging him and questioning him. He's just going along with it and letting him spew his garbage. I don't think Brian's a Christian. I don't think he's religious. So he's got to know what this guy is saying is just garbage.
Well, the thing is, too, Brian's he's married, as far as I know. I mean,
Yeah.
what's going to do if he wants to protect his family unit? He's got to actually be involved with activism that stops her from divorcing him.
Yes.
He's not going to do that. He hasn't done that.
Yes. Yes.
What the men typically do is like Brian. He just makes as much money to keep her bribed, and he hopes she doesn't leave.
Yes.
And like you say, when she does leave, he hopes he has enough money left over after she's done squeezing him to bribe a new woman in. And they just do it over and over again.
Yes. But they won't advocate against the system because they think, the man's got to pay, otherwise the government's going to pay the woman. And I don't want to pay my taxes. That's the thing.
Yes.
Yes.
And this is something that we've talked about on this show a lot, is essentially the welfare state has destroyed the family. And it started with blacks, or at least it affects them the most, but it will affect everyone. Like eventually that's the point, right? So that the government becomes the father and it replaces the father in the home. So you said that black people, for whatever reason, went along with it. But I was just wondering.
So the government's plan is to use tax dollars to put everyone on welfare, to destroy the family unit, and then what? So how's the country going to run? You know, all the working men are on welfare now, and all the women are on welfare.
Yes.
Would it make sense to say that it was mostly black women and also feminists, because I think they were a big part of that pushed for this kind of thing, like basically people who were putting women at the center of everything, and whether they were
let's pause here, right? Let's pause. The welfare state in the UK, I'm not sure it worked in the USA, but the welfare state in the UK wasn't feminist. Okay, the modern welfare state was basically after the Second World War. Everyone voted in a Labour government. They said things can't carry on how they are, so they got a stronger welfare state and they got a national health service, basically as a reward for fighting the Second World War for the entire nation, right? For the struggle, right? Politicians said things have to change, right? That's nothing to do with feminists or feminism, yeah. So he's right wing. He doesn't want welfare. He doesn't want to pay taxes. So he's trying to muddy in men's issues with his anti-welfare stance, and his anti-welfare stance would kill millions of men. I'll give an example, proof. Russia, after the fall of the Soviet Union, after the communist government collapsed, it was all right-wing libertarians who took over and ran the government, stole all the government assets, all the government infrastructure. They had a free market fundamentalist policy. They had a really weak welfare state, right? Millions of men died early compared to women. The life expectancy of women was still 73. The life expectancy for Russian men dropped to 52. Right?
I'd be dead by now.
Yes. So their anti-welfare stance kills men. They're advocating for the death of men, as far as I'm concerned. Because they're right wing. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm not going to refrain from insulting them. These people are right wing scum.
Of course.
And I normally wouldn't be so aggressive about this, but they're in the men's rights movement, shitting it up.
I agree with that. Oh my God, I can't get over what's being said here. I really can't. Okay, let's see. I don't know how far you want to go. We're only in.
I want to get to the part when they talk about the civil rights movement more.
Okay.
Basically.
Okay, we're just 11 minutes in. Yeah.
Yes. I think it's about half an hour. But let's carry on listening.
Yes.
Level than other men and their interests and the interests of children, or women who just hold themselves as the most important thing.
Absolutely. It was mostly pushed by women, and it still is being pushed by women.
Yes.
And that back then, it happened more in the north, in the big cities, than it did in the south. Because I grew up, I was born, as you know, I don't know if you know or not, but
well, they're actually being truthful now. It's pushed by women, and it's pushed more in the cities, of course.
I was born on a plantation in Alabama under the Jim Crow laws, and I wasn't aware of welfare and all that until I went up to Indiana, and that's when I noticed that a lot.
Okay, let's pause. Let's pause.
Yeah.
You okay? Look at the South compared to the North, right? Or the more developed regions compared to the less developed ones, right? Okay, people had it better. Right, there was less poverty. You don't have welfare in a city, especially in a city, high population density. Okay, you don't have welfare there. What are people going to do? They're going to turn to crime.
Yes.
Yeah. Or even if they don't turn to crime, they're going to be homeless. They're going to be beggars. They're going to be rummaging through people's bins for food. They're just going to be a general nuisance. Yeah.
Exactly.
And it's going to run the area down, and people are going to leave when they see the poverty. It's going to affect the economy. There's reasons why welfare exists. Do you know actually what invented the modern welfare state? In general, the first one, it was the Germans. It was right-wing nationalist Germans in the 19th century. Yes, right? And do you know what they did it? It was Bismarck. They didn't do it out of the kindness of heart. They didn't do it because they were closet Marxists. They wanted to keep the worker health in line, keep the workers healthy, so the economy was more competitive. And the rest of the world saw how effective this was. So other nations started to copy the German model.
Well, it all makes sense. I mean, also in rural, when he's talking about rural and urban, rural, you could actually turn around and beg for work in the rural. Like you could go to a farmer and say, all I want to do is eat. Can I do this shit labor that you don't want to touch? I mean,
that book you talked about, of Mice and Men, that dealt with that basically.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. The guys were roaming around the countryside and basically going to farms and working there, and that's how they got by. You know.
Yes.
That's why they wanted to open up their own farm in that book, so that they could have some kind of stability in their lives and self-respect.
Yes.
Exactly.
Let's carry on.
Yeah. Okay.
Projects, and they were relying on the governments, and they were having babies out of wedlock, and it was a mess, a real mess. But where I live with my folks in Indiana, it wasn't like that because they got married, they were working, they had bought homes because they were trained that way growing up. But in Chicago and the surrounding,
this has nothing to do with training.
Yes.
The area, it was out of control. And the reason they do that, because it's a spiritual battle. It's a warfare between good and evil. Mm-hmm. And the man represents good. He represents God. He's a son of God, even if he's in a fallen state. So the evil is using the woman to destroy the man. And so
let's pause here. Yeah. I think the men's rights movement is lucky that actually the feminists don't pay attention to them, because feminists would love to use this in a debate. Look, there's some nutter ranting on about men are good and basically implying that women are evil. Yeah, basically.
Exactly. Actually, it's even worse. They're not even saying women are evil. They're saying women are just nothing.
They're controlled by evil. He's basically saying Satan is controlling them. Women don't have any agency or responsibility.
Exactly.
Yeah. His children, when they were very little, so that it can destroy the family. You cannot control the women and children if they had a good man over the wife and the children. You have to remove that man in order to control the women and children. And so it was the black.
Stop. Right, you don't have to remove the man, right? Because basically, family units where the man is still around, the father's still around, the woman's in charge anyway.
Yes, exactly. That's why they put it out in the first place.
Yes.
who were fighting for that, and mostly in the North at that time. Now it's all over, but it started out up north first, I believe.
How do you think you can get black women like to turn against their own men? Like,
the mothers, it started with their mothers and their mothers and their mothers. A lot of mothers, not all, but most women hate men. Because,
you think so?
Wow.
Yeah. And the reason for that is it's not them per se, but it's the spirit of anger that made a home in them.
All right, pause.
Yeah.
I want to unpack this nonsense. So, first of all, he says, how do you get women to turn against their own men? And he doesn't answer the question. He just goes, oh, it's women, it's their grandmothers, and it's their mothers, and it's grandmothers. And then he goes, women hate men, but most women do. And then, oh, but it's not them. What?
Yeah.
It's a mess.
He wants to say that women hate men, but he's trying to
take responsibility away from them.
Exactly. It's got nothing to do with them. It does.
So basically, he hasn't answered the question either. So how do you get women to turn against the men? Oh, they hate them because it's not them, because it's their grandmothers and their mothers, because okay.
What you have to realize is that God above is the man's God, and the God below is the woman's God. And the God below hate the God above, so it's using the women to destroy the men and the children.
Okay, I'm sorry. Pause. I'm sorry. I've got to be pedantic here. I'm not sure what religion this guy belongs to, but under Christian doctrine, he's not a God below, right? Satan is not a God, according to Christian doctrine, right? So he's basically saying women are of that of Satan.
Yes, women worship Satan. That's what he's saying.
Yes, or not worship. They're tricked by Satan. They don't have any responsibility, no agency. It's not their fault, really.
Exactly. God doesn't talk to women, by the way. He only talks to men.
Yeah.
It is not the woman, but it's the spirit that made a home in her, and she can't help herself. Now, if she is when she
the all-powerful God couldn't put his spirit in women for some reason.
is growing up as a little girl, if she's close to her earthly father, then that could not happen. But unfortunately, their mothers are in a fallen state, and they turn their sons and daughters away from the fathers. If you notice, the mothers play victim. And when they really are not victims, they're victimizers. But they play victims in the home. They'll run the father off or make him into a drunk or alcoholic. And then they'll tell the children, your father's no good. He's just a drunk. He's just an alcoholic. Or if the father leaves the home, she'll say, your father left, and now I got to take care of you.
So she plays victim.
Pause. Okay. The fact that they're actually bringing up a sensible point here, right, it actually makes me angry, because this is a real issue, and then mixing it in with the right-wing religious nonsense, discrediting it.
Yes.
So this is actually one of the parts that pisses me off the most. I'd rather that he didn't speak about this issue at all, to be honest. But Honey Badger Radio shouldn't be giving this guy a platform.
Yeah, I think they just ran out of people to talk to. Because, I mean,
no, it's not. No, because that's making an excuse for them. It's not like they ran out of people to talk to, right? They seek right-wingers to talk to because they want to promote right-wing politics. That's what it is. They haven't run out of people to talk to. You think that they want to talk to this guy?
Yeah. Well, let me look at it this way. The people they used to talk to weren't this bad, and they just continually got worse. So I mean, for them to go this low, this guy's a new low. So I mean, they could spew their right wing politics and not have a nutcase on. So this
guy's popular. This guy's fairly popular though. He's quite big within the right wing spaces. They love this guy.
So it's
yes, they're going to attach to anyone of status. Yes. Why do you think they talk to Stefan Molyneux, for example? They want to talk to anyone. Fucking hell. Like I said, there was a joke. Someone once joked in the Promo Collective. If Adolf Hitler came back from the dead, they would interview him. Basically,
yes,
I think it's true.
It was true.
I can imagine them doing a long hangout with Adolf Hitler, like ranting on about the Jews. We need living space in Russia. But at the end, oh, Hitler, we haven't really touched on men's issues yet. Shall we talk about that? It goes, no, fuck off.
And she basically gets her kids to hate him too.
Yeah.
Is that the goal?
And so she never said your father left home because he couldn't handle me. Your father loved you, but he couldn't handle me. I'm like his mother. And
Actually, sorry. Pause. There's some comments. There's a comment in the comment section by Tradcon, right? Yeah. And I'm banned from this channel because I tried replying, but it didn't get through, right? He said, "Oh, any man who breaks off a relationship with his kids is not a real man." That's no commenters. So these commenters are so stupid. They apply hyper agency onto men. Look, it's the women booting the men away, right? Yeah. All right, and this is just if you don't get to see your kids, you're not a real man. This is the sort of people you will attract if you're right wing. People who have put hyper agency onto men who are anti-male. Exactly.
But these guys, they love a man who's been booted out, who pays child support and alimony. They like that. They actually, they want that even better. They just don't want it for themselves.
Yes, exactly. They want it to happen to other men. That's it.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So he left home. Because father loved their children, and when they leave those homes, they're not leaving their children, they're leaving the mother. Because if you don't overcome your mother, you end up marrying or getting involved with a woman that's just like your mother, the same spirit. And you become the boy and she become the mother. And the cycle repeats itself. And women...
How can this happen if God supposedly puts a spirit in the man?
No. And the thing is, he's spewing nonsense as well. This is a very important point. Look, so basically, if you don't have a good relationship with your mother, you end up marrying your mother. No. If you wasn't marrying your mother, the mother would keep you around, wouldn't she?
Yeah.
She would mother you and care for you.
Yeah, exactly.
So no. So it's not like the mother, is it? It's a woman who doesn't like the man, has a baby with him, then boots him out and gets him to pay child support. That's what's going on. So you need equal shared parenting to stop this. You need to abolish child support.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. So we already had the answer. Go out and advocate for that, but they're not going to, are they?
Yeah.
All right.
Well, you see, shared parenting would be actual responsibility for the man that they talk about. Just giving a woman a paycheck is not being responsible to the kids. It's just paying the woman. That's it.
Yes. The thing is that the man would have to take off time from work, right, to spend time raising the kids. He would have to have more rights as well. He would have to have a right to parental leave, and the right wingers don't want that for men. So of course they're not going to be for that. Yes.
And they have a love-hate for it. They need a man that will help them overcome. But because men don't understand they need to overcome their mothers, they end up repeating the cycle over and over again. So women, they have love-hate for that. They want to control you, but they don't want to control you.
Right. Well, they challenge men to try to essentially take charge, but the way they...
Oh, they challenge us. That's...
No, they don't. No, they don't. You try and take charge. Look, if you try and take charge and be manly, they'll end up putting the fucking police on you.
That's right. That's how it works.
Yes.
Do it. Yeah, I get what you mean. So, out of curiosity, what do you mean by the God below? I think you said, or the lower God that women are.
Satan is the woman's God.
Satan is the woman's God.
Yes, and God above is the man God.
Satan's the woman's God. There you go.
God. And the reason, if you read Genesis, you'll see where it happened.
Look at Brian.
No, stop. No, you fucking. Sorry. Look, if you're going to be a religious nutcase, at least stick to religious dogma, right? Religious doctrine. There is no God below. Satan is not God. There is only one God according to your religion. Jesus Christ.
By the way, analyzing, I hear it's just this nutcase. This is something that televangelists do all the time. They switch things out and change things willy-nilly whenever it suits them. They all do it.
Yes.
About how before Eve came along, Adam and his father God had a a father-son good relationship. And then God decided, you know what? I'm gonna give Adam a woman. And so from the man, he created the woman, and she became.
Can we skip a little further just to get by this religion stuff?
You don't want to hear this fictional tale, this fable. Then I think we should play it. To be honest,
All right.
I think we got to show.
They God married them, and she became his wife, and they were all happy because there was God, the Son, and the wife, right? And the Son loved the Father, and so things were well. And then one day Satan came along, and long story short, he tried to tempt Adam, but Adam like, no, get away. You know, evil, get away. And so he went after.
Let's pause this.
Yeah, no. Actually, the story is very simple. He never went after Adam at all.
Yes.
In that story.
He's making up his own version of it. So, yeah. But here's the thing: God's omnipotent, and He's allowing this to happen. Basically, so he wanted this to happen. Then, in other words,
exactly. You can't have it all three ways, you know.
Yes.
And he kept telling the woman, you know what? You could be like Adam. He's just trying to control you. He is a misogynist. He just want to control you. And she's like, no, I love my husband. I'm not going to disobey my husband. And then...
here's the thing. And Adam... Go ahead.
You're not Satan told Eve. He said your husband's an incel. That's what he said. He's a neckbeard, fedora-wearing, incel, misogynist, man-child beta male. That's what he said to her.
Well, actually, the story of Adam and Eve is actually closer to reality than you think, because Eve offered Adam the apple, and he didn't go, oh, no, I shouldn't do it. He said, oh, all right, whatever you want, baby.
He kept at the woman. And Adam told the woman, stay away from the deceiver, stay away from the serpent, because he'll turn you away. And finally, she ran into Satan, and he's like, you know what, Eve? Adam is weak. He's listening to his father. You could be your own woman. You could have a civil rights movement. You could be great work. You could be independent too, like Adam. And she believed it. The moment she believed it, because whatever you believe controls you. It controls you. You become subject to what you believe.
You know what this reminds me of? Drunken rants I've seen at bars.
And we have to be careful what we believe, because we live by faith, whether it's right or wrong. And so Satan became her daddy. And when he believed Satan, he turned her away from her husband.
Right.
And then time went by, and Eve went and told Adam, you know, Adam, you could be your own man. Why are you listening to your father? You know, you should be your own man. She kept tempting him, and Adam believed Eve. And once he believed her, he turned away from his father, and Eve became his God. And so that's why today, Satan is the woman's God, and the woman is the man's God. But Christ came and turned that around. He put it back in order. And so he was the Son of God. He was perfect. So when we believe...
So how did Jesus put things in order then? He didn't explain. So didn't he just get crucified or something? All right, whatever.
Yeah, exactly. He got himself killed, and
I think it was the Marxist Romans who did him in. Basically, it's like Karl Marx went to Caesar, says, yes, you got to execute that Jesus or whatever.
Yeah.
He's got a good imagination though, making shit up. I've got to give him credit.
He's just great. A lot of these guys, they're good at spewing.
Yes.
Overcome the woman, and that order come back together. That's why you got to go and forgive your mothers, because they can't help themselves. And they made you angry. And when you became angry, you judged her. And when you judged her, you became like her. Men are only subject to women because they hate their mothers. But when they
stop. Most men don't hate their mothers. Right? No, what the fuck's he even on about? But Jesus Christ. Okay.
Oh my God. There's a lot of this to wade through.
Yeah,
but the thing is, it doesn't say control mothers anyway. according to him. Oh, Satan controls women, so you're going to forgive them. What good is that going to do anyway if Satan controls them?
Yeah. Does that kill?
Look, actually, look. Okay, look.
Yes.
They need to go to God and say, look, God, get off your fucking omnipotent arse and do something about this. You know,
exactly.
God is the ultimate slacker.
Oh, yeah, exactly. He worked for 7 days and hasn't touched it since.
Identity away and give them back the identity they had when they were a child. They had their natural identity. And when they love their earthly fathers, meaning don't hate your father, you naturally love God. But when you hate your earthly father because he is a son of God, you can never know God. It doesn't matter how many Bibles you read. It doesn't matter how many churches you go to.
Okay,
you can hoop and holler and pray and shout until the cows come home. If you're not born again of the Spirit of God, you would never know God. You will always be subject to women, and women will always be subject to Satan.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing. That's a lot too, huh?
Brian. Mm-hmm.
What's interesting about this is, I've always lived in minority communities. I lived with black people and
my whole
life.
Exactly.
I tell you what happens when you challenge them on what they do on giving these people a platform. They always play this free speech card. Oh, we don't necessarily agree with them. We're just having a conversation.
Yes.
Right? So it gives them a platform, a men's rights platform to spew this nonsense, right? So poisoning up the movement by association, right? But we're just giving them a platform, free speech. No. Brian loves this guy on some level. I don't think he agrees with his religious doctrines, but he loves his tradcon marriage fetish. Yes, and they're both libertarians as well, I think. So.
Oh my God, libertarian. None of these libertarians, none of them ever do a thing to change the government. They want to live under the government like the rest of us. Mm-hmm. They're just liars.
Mostly. And there are a lot of, the thing that's interesting is that Latinos and black people are really conservative in a way, like I think they used to be, and maybe they've lost their way in some fashion or something, but there are still churches around here and people go to church and all of that. But I guess what you're saying is...
Let's pause. So they're very religious, they're very conservative, yet their family unit's falling apart.
Yeah,
according to them.
exactly.
So they just admit that religion's useless then, themselves.
Yeah, well, exactly. It is useless because it doesn't change anything.
Yes.
Though those, there are churches and they go and they supposedly worship or whatever, they're not really religious. They're not really Christian.
There you go. You see, they're not real Christians. If they're real Christians, God would come down and handle things.
Yes, well, if they were real Christians, they wouldn't be right-wing. They'd be socialists. They wouldn't allow remarriage after divorce. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. They wouldn't have sex before marriage, which most of them do. They wouldn't support the military because they'd be pacifists. So, yeah, none of them are Christians as far as I'm concerned. So.
No. Their idea of Christians are conquerors.
Yes.
They know the Bible. They went down to the front of the church and accepted Jesus.
And did the Holy Ghost. And
it's all intellectual. They know, they have the knowledge of good and evil, which is a dangerous thing, but they don't have the relationship with God. They don't live from within. And I know that blacks and Hispanics used to be...
Hold it now. How is the knowledge of good and evil a bad thing? Because that allows you to make an accurate choice.
Well, here's another thing as well, right? They don't have a relationship with God. How does he know? Just because he says so. Yeah, exactly. I don't agree with you, therefore you don't have a relationship with God. All right.
Yeah. Oh, my God.
Conservative, but for the most part, they are not that now. They go to church, they sing and hoop and holler, but when you really think about it, they support abortion, they support so-called same-sex marriage, homosexuality, they support the Democratic Party.
Okay, I'm sorry. A men's rights platform that's about increasing rights for men should not give a platform to homophobic people like this. Yeah, right? Exactly. He's not even ranting against same-sex marriage, right? He's saying they support homosexuality as well. So this guy doesn't like homosexuals. So he's a bigot.
Yes. And the worst part is that gay men take the brunt of everything. Lesbians do not suffer like gay men. When these bashers come, like if you look in the Middle East, when they hang homosexuals, they're all men.
Yes.
There's no lesbians being hanged.
And the thing is, you can't really use the free speech concern trolling as an excuse. Like even if, like, oh, I'm just having him on my platform. Okay, why didn't Brian challenge him for his homophobia and have a debate about it? He's not going to, is he?
No.
He just wants to suck up to him.
Yeah, this is not.
I tell you what would happen if he challenged him. He would probably have a meltdown and leave the interview.
Yes,
that's
exactly.
why.
That's what would happen.
Yes.
And the Democratic Party is an evil party. It's anti-God, anti-man, anti-family, anti-unborn children, anti-military, and the Democratic Party.
Okay, the Democrat. All right. So the Democratic Party is anti-God. Nope. Anti-military. You're a Christian. Definitely not. They're not anti-military. They like Bill Clinton and Obama. They both increased military spending, so they're not anti-military. Obama started more wars than Bush did, apparently. Okay, Bill Clinton was a lunatic warmonger as well, right? They're pro-military. This guy's a Christian, but he's pro-military. So he's okay with the American military pushing their weight around, attacking other countries, terrorizing them. But he's a Christian, a man of God.
Yeah.
Right. So, and I thought he doesn't like daddy government either. Daddy government. So, what's the military in the USA? It's a job scheme. It's a career for men. They join the army to get paid, to get the army benefits, to get the wife.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
There's all these bloated military contracts for corporations, military contractors. Okay, that's big government. But he is criticizing the Democratic Party for being anti-military. He's all over the place, in other words. So anything he agrees with, right, because he's anything right-wing, aggressive right-wing politics he loves, basically. He's okay with big government in that regard.
Yeah. Well, not to mention you've also said there's no real left-wing party in the United States anyway.
Yes.
There's just right-wing and not quite as right-wing.
Also, didn't Trump once said women are the superior sex? I pay them more for the same work as men, right? Why isn't this guy attacking Trump then?
Yeah, of course. Because
his whole narrative is like men should be worshipping God instead of worshipping women, and yet he doesn't stay consistent, does he? Because he'll give his right-wing politicians a pass.
Yes, of course, all of them. I mean, Trump. I mean, wasn't he a Democrat at one time?
When he was a Democrat, he once says, "If I ever run for president," he used to support the Democrats. "If I ever run for president, I'll probably run as a Republican, and I'll trick stupid right-wingers to vote for me." He said that.
Oh my God! Well, he did it, didn't he?
Yeah.
Okay.
That goes against God, but yet droves and droves of black people are still voting and supporting the Democratic Party, and then they hoop and holler and pray about God. So they're not conservative. They used to be, but they're not anymore. Mm-hmm. And I also noticed that the Mexican mothers are as controlling as the black mothers are. Mexican mothers will try to make you stay home with them even after you're 50 years old. And if you move, they'll move to wherever you are and they'll destroy your family. The mothers in the black community do the same thing. It's like they have a...
In other words, these women don't want to give up their dominant position, ever.
Yes. Yes.
You know, they don't like the idea of younger women coming in and taking over.
Yes.
Well, man,
Latin American countries Latin American countries tend to be more conservative because they're less developed as well. So, okay.
Sons, and they won't let go. And they're not going to let go until the sons overcome them and demand that they back off or block them on your phone. Don't let them come to your home because they will destroy your children. They would do exactly to your children what they've done to you. They will make you angry and they will control you, and they will not let go no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
That is breakaway.
Yeah, that is a problem with overbearing mothers. And I was just...
Well, how do these mothers travel? What's the fathers doing? They don't have husbands that say, "Oh, we're not moving there."
Yeah, the husband's booted out, obviously.
Yes.
So,
Going to mention, it seems like
They will follow you to West Hill.
like 90 going north.
Like 90 going north, just to destroy you.
Yeah. Yeah, that is a problem. What I was going to mention is I've noticed that where I live, it's majority black neighborhood, and I don't see many men at all around. Usually it's because they're either in a gang or they're in jail most of the time.
Yes.
You know, and the women.
Okay, let's pause.
It's crazy because.
Okay, why these men are in jail and why are these men in gangs? Because they're trying to get status, so women will keep them around. And if they don't have enough status, the women will boot them out.
Yeah, that's it.
That's what's going on. Yes. Yes.
I don't see teenage girls there. But what I mean is, a girl, when I was really young, and I lived on the west side of Chicago, which is a tough area. There's areas, parts of the city that have been destroyed from the riots, I think from Martin Luther King's assassination. They haven't recovered. Those neighborhoods are still, you know, dilapidated, and it's all just alcoholics and liquor stores and stuff. But anyway, I used to see, you know, young black and Latino girls when I was a kid that would grow up, go to school, get a job, and occasionally you'll see like a teen girl that's pregnant. Nowadays, I have never seen in the last maybe 10 or 15 years a black girl that becomes a teenager and doesn't end up pregnant. Like, they all end up getting pregnant, and that's when they're not getting abortions, like you said. So there is a real...
Well, they don't want to work for a living. They don't have to.
Yeah. So basically, in the past, teenage girls never got pregnant. I don't know what point he's trying to make. So it's just anecdotal evidence. It doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
Problem. So what I was thinking is that if there are this many women and the majority of boys are ending up in jail, dead, or on drugs, or suicidal, or in a gang.
Okay. Let's pause here. Okay. All these boys are ending up dead. They're ending up on drugs. They're ending up in prison. They're ending up in gangs because you are living in a right-wing country that's got a weak welfare state, right? Okay, this doesn't happen nearly as much in other European countries. Nowhere near as much, and they've got strong welfare states.
Yes, of course.
Yeah. So
I mean, it just goes to show how the economy went tits up too. Because these girls went to school. The idea is if they were young guys going to school too, they'd be looking at the guys and say, "Oh yeah, I'll go to school. I'll be with that guy someday." You know, I mean, I don't want. I hate saying it, but I mean, most girls, when they go to university, young women, they're not really that serious. It's just they're just following the status,
Seems like the women are running everything. It's like it's become a matriarchal society in the black community as well as the Latino community. Now I'm 46, so
it's always been matriarchal.
I don't know if it was really different before my time, but for as long as I've been around, that's basically how it was. Like, I'm one of very few Latinos that knows his father, and I was very lucky. I would even call that a privilege to have. Yes. So what I was wondering about is that how could a boy or a young man break the cycle if he was raised by a black woman or a Latino woman or a white woman for that matter? If he was raised by a single mother and they tend to be abusive to their kids, and so they.
All right, let's stop here. Let's stop here. I want to point out. I want to put. It's what this is. It's hyper agency again. How can he break the cycle? How can lone man boy break the cycle? It's not something that's going to be done by a lone person. You're not going to teach him tricks or tips, right? Child abuse is only be tackled. Female perpetrated child abuse is only be tackled when there's a will to do so, right? You need shared parenting, right? You need to punish women who abuse children. That's how you're going to break the cycle. And no one's prepared to do anything about it. These right wingers are not prepared to do it because they don't like big daddy government. They don't like welfare. Right, so they're not going to break the cycle. It's not up to lone individual victims to break the cycle. It's got to be done collectively.
Yes, and these guys have no solidarity with one another.
Yes.
And the way that she raises them and the way that she exercises authority over them, and they don't know their father. They don't understand what it means to be a man. They don't understand their own masculinity. This is why they join gangs and they use violence assault.
Oh, yeah, and this is another thing. This teaching your son to be a man is bullshit.
I'm sorry. These gang members think themselves real men. That's what real masculinity is about. You know, commit violence, get resources, pander to the woman. It's just, to be honest, it's just a more exaggerated version of their version of masculinity. It's just less risk averse. They want to get a stable job, right? Gain status, pander to the woman. The gang members are just trying to do the same thing, except they're just doing it in a more high risk way.
As a matter of fact, at wartime, it isn't a more exaggeration. These guys who join the military, they're going across seas, they're murdering men, they're grabbing their resources, and they're bribing their women back home. That's how it happens. You know.
Yes.
Their problems and, you know, things like this. How can a man break that cycle if he doesn't know his father?
Really good question. I do want to say the anger that you see in the gang members, the anger of a man is that of a woman. It's abnormal for a man to be angry. He's not born that way. He's not created that way.
Oh my God. It's abnormal. Normal is abnormal to this guy.
Yes.
He take on the mother's identity and he become angry when he resents her. The way that he overcomes it when he become an adult.
I'm sorry. This is not. There's been loads of gangsters who love their mother. What the fuck is he even on about?
Yes,
Jesus Christ! Like the Craig twins in the UK, they loved their mother, and they looked after the women in their lives, and they pandered to them.
Yeah.
Right. Well, one of them was gay, but the other one was straight. Right. They loved their mother. They were real mama's boys, but they went around beating up and murdering other men to gain power.
Yeah.
This guy's full of shit. Like the mafia, you're not. They love their mothers as well. You're not meant to touch your women, right? You're meant to respect women while you murder other men.
Exactly. The mafia is some of the biggest white knights that have ever existed.
Yes.
They are mama's boys. Mm.
Yes.
I'm telling you, once he forgive her, hey, I'm sorry for resenting you. I realize you couldn't help yourself. You were crazy. You know, you hate your mother, and I understand now you can help yourself. God will forgive him because we are a spirit that lives in a physical body, right? We're created in the image of God. So we are a spirit. So when you forgive your mother and forgive your father for not being able to protect you from your mother, then God will forgive you as an adult, and he will give you back.
God will forgive you. You haven't done anything wrong.
God, give me my wife food, God.
Yeah. My wife's been really mean to me, God. Now that you've forgiven me, will she be nice to me now? Or
your identity, and that identity is of him, is of the father, and not of the mother. Then you can break away, and so you start living from within, because everything that we are, everything we're looking for, everything, our teacher and everything is inside of us. We have God, we have Christ, and we have the Holy Spirit. And it will cause us to become men.
I think it's around the 35-minute mark. They might start talking about the civil rights movement.
Let's carry on. Let's see. Let's just.
I think
once he talks about what plans to do, once he talks about Rosa Parks. Sorry, what plans to do? Once he talks about Rosa Parks, we'll end it there. To be honest,
because this is painful. Okay.
Yes.
He will add a woman unto you. That's why he said, seek first the kingdom of God in his right way, and all things will be added. When men love what's right with all their heart, soul, and might, along with nothing else or no one else, then God will add unto them. He will put a woman in your life. You would date her. She would date you. You guys will get to know each other. And you will see that this is the woman that I would be a good wife and a good mother for my children. Then you will get married under the umbrella of God, and it will last forever.
So God will give it on to you. Then the women will date you. And because she dates you, then she'll be a good mother to your children.
Yes.
But until death do you part.
Well, let's stop here. Let's stop here. Okay. The problem with this is he's in his story, Satan already got to the women beforehand, and God didn't do anything to stop it then. Why is he going to stop it now?
Yeah, well, he's not. He's just going to forgive the guy for doing nothing, I guess.
Okay. Jesus Christ, God's useless. I've got to say, he's like the ultimate superpowered being. He doesn't do anything. You know?
He's past the buck.
God.
Marriage is over because women use sex the way a drug addict use drugs, a drug dealer use drugs. They draw you in with sex, you become addicted, then they control you. And you find yourself emotionally attached to her. You're not yourself because she is your God again. But if you don't have sex with her, get to know her, you can see her for who she is. She can't hide from you. Because women have a way of hiding and pretending to be what you want her to be until she hook you in, right? And you see the real thing come out. So men should not have sex before marriage so they can get to know the person. And then we
no. If the man doesn't have sex before marriage, he's gonna be fucking horny, right? He's just be desperate to marry her quicker. He's gonna be. This guy's talking nonsense.
Sex before marriage, you lose. You will be deceived. You go into darkness. You're controlled by sex. And once you're into it, one woman is not enough because as soon as the newness wear off, you want another one. It's like drugs. You can't get enough of it. But,
so when women sleep around, is it the sex that they're getting addicted to, or?
Yeah.
But if you wait until marriage, you can do it the right way and you have self-control. But they overcome it by forgiving the mother. And then when you have your family.
He's really obsessed with that. It's like,
he is.
It's like a non sequitur. He just keeps on bringing it up all the fucking time. You know?
I'm beginning to think that this guy has a problem with his mom.
Yeah, but you know what? Do you know how the Jews would have gotten Adolf Hitler to stop gassing them if they forgave their mother?
Yeah, exactly.
What? Rambling nonsense.
Because you have overcome that anger and God love is working through you, you would pass on love to your children rather than hate. Anyone who
no. Because the problem is, right, what happens if the woman divorces you and alienates you from the kids? You're not passing on shit, then are you?
Yeah, exactly.
Hate in their heart, hatred, and they don't have any love. That's why they screw up every generation. But when you're born again of God, you only have love. And love is not something you can feel, taste, or touch. It's a light unto your feet. You live by it. And that's what you pass down to your children.
All right.
You start a new generation, a generation of love rather than a generation of hate.
I apologize for my dog. He gets excited.
No problem. Yeah.
The dog's calling bullshit.
Yeah.
So I wanted to talk a bit about let's go back to the civil rights movement.
Here we are.
So there is something that you have said many times on your show with guests, and a lot of times it really upsets them when you say this because you're lucky enough to be able to get on a lot of different kinds of people, but mostly people that disagree with you, and I think that is actually really healthy that you're talking with them. One of the things that I've heard you say is racism doesn't exist.
Right.
And that is something that I've been thinking.
Oh my God, racism doesn't exist.
So the Nazis never existed then, according to their logic. The KKK never existed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that's nice to know.
This is really healthy that you have this conversation with people.
Yeah.
Thinking a lot about since you brought it up, because this is what I would say about that, and then I want you to tell me what you think about this. I think that what we call racism, homophobia, Islamophobia, transphobia, all these other isms and phobias that people create, they are reinforced by a lie, which is what we call a threat narrative. Essentially, what you do is you say, that group over there has men that are dangerous to us, and so we will call it
kind of like leftist and Marxist and soy boys.
Yes.
that hate for those men, we'll call that an ism. So usually what it is that people who hate men accuse group of an ism which distracts from the real focus, which is maleness, which is essentially what is being sort of concealed by these accusations. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Do you follow me?
I do. And to add to that, there is no such thing as racism. No, and never has been.
Stop. Okay, so he's actually contradicting himself there. It's a mess. So Brian's basically saying racism and all these other isms are actually a threat narrative directed against men. Do you agree with me? He goes, yes. Then he goes, oh yeah, there's no such thing as racism. What?
I know these type of guys, they're just trying to sound like they know something new. And
yeah, he's so obsessed with his narrative, he's just going to not really pay attention to what the other guy says and just carry on repeating it.
Sexism, homophobia, Islamophobia.
Okay, all right. Stop. If there's no such thing as sexism, why is Brian a men's rights activist? Or
yeah, exactly. I was about to say that. So, and these guys will also blame Marxism. So
yes.
Allah Akbarism, deadbeat dadism, white supremacism, anti-Semitism, no isms. It's either right or wrong.
These guys call men deadbeat dads all the time.
Yeah.
Good or evil. Mm-hmm. And you have those who are in a fallen state, they serve evil. Anyone who has anger is evil. And in that state of mind, they judge, they hate, they compare themselves to others, they're jealousy. And it doesn't matter. You could be a family member, you could be a husband or a wife or children or anything. If you have hatred in your heart, you're going to discriminate in the wrong way against anyone. It doesn't matter because it's spiritual. Satan is your daddy. But if you've overcome that and you have perfect love, you're going to treat all people the same. You love all with the right kind of love.
So if Satan's affecting your heart, how can you not be a racist?
Yeah, yeah. Let's carry on.
Okay. With honesty and fairness and all that. But the children of the lie have made up those words. The black race hustlers and the educated people and people with degrees.
Marxists.
Yeah.
There you go. See, that tells us Marxist.
To work the Marxists in mental. The thing is, okay. I do sort of agree with the concept of race hustlers. Actually, I do agree with it. That there are people who play the victim over race, right? And especially black women who are not victims of racism at all, in my opinion. But it's to deny racism, that black men suffer racism, is just wrong. It's false. They have in the past, especially. The KKK was walking around. There was even movies made about the KKK supporting them, like Birth of a Nation.
Yes.
Right? So, come on.
So these guys, this is the lowest of the low I've seen Honey Badger Radio ever sing.
Yeah.
Made up the word racism because they wanted to deceive you with words. And when you believe those words, you start believing into them, they control you. Mm-hmm. There is no way you can ever...
Like this guy. So if you believe in these religious Christian, pseudo-Christian bullshit, his ideas are going to control you as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's all right if it all depends on who's benefiting.
That you're not a racist, because racist doesn't exist. And then the black race hustlers and others discovered that white people are afraid of that word, racism. And they're like, wow, this really works for us. And the last thing that white people want to be called is a racist, because they've seen what happened to whites when you call them that. They lose their jobs, they lose their businesses, they lose their families in some cases. And so the black people have been able to intimidate white people to get free stuff. And they tell other black people that to get them angry, because once you cause them to become angry, you control them. Mm-hmm. You cannot control a moral person or people. You have to demoralize them. And so they keep the blacks in a constant state of anger to control them so that they can gain power and wealth. And they keep white people on the run with the word racism, because whites have seen what happened to other white people when they disagree with the blacks. They've seen what happened. So it's a way of controlling the
Well, what happens if they disagree?
Well, the thing is, if you get accused, there's an element of truth to what he's saying here. You can lose your job if you're accused of being a racist.
That's true.
Right.
Okay,
That does happen. It mostly happens to men. It affects men far more than women.
yes, of course. How
basically.
many women have you known that have lost their job over it? You know.
Yes. And but the thing is here, he denies the concept of racism, and sometimes there are genuine racists who get fired from their jobs as well. And the thing is, I want a world where racists get fired from their jobs. I want a world where feminists get fired from their jobs. I want a world where misandrists get fired from their jobs. I want a constant set of ethics. You're not allowed to be prejudiced in certain groups. You're not allowed to marginalise them. You're not allowed to attack them. You're not allowed to dehumanise them. Otherwise, you're going to get negative feedback from society. We need to live in a society like that.
Yeah.
So I do agree with the concept of these black race hustlers. But there's feminist hustlers, and these guys are hustlers as well. What they do, they play the victim against the Marxists.
Yes.
So yes. All sorts of groups play the victim narrative, and these guys do it themselves. Oh, the big daddy government destroying a family unit. It's the Marxists.
Yeah.
Blah blah blah.
There's no bigger victimhood narrative than the libertarians, I think.
Yes.
Or maybe the feminists.
people. When I was growing up in Alabama, it was called treat others the way you would like to be treated. Black people were people back then.
Was it? So I'm sorry. So the Jim Crow laws was called treat others how you like to be treated. Was that what they were called?
Yeah. Yeah, that second drinking fountain, that was.
Yes. Okay.
People, everyone, the way they would like to be treated. If they disagree with you, they disagree. If they agree,
no. It was if they disagreed with you, they disagreed. No. There was laws that making them second-class citizens, and white shop owners could boot black people out, and they could put them in the back of the bus. I'm sorry. It's not if they disagreed, they disagreed. If the white people disagreed, they can enforce it on you. If you're black, what the fuck is this idiot on about?
Man, no wonder people have a problem with the things he says.
Yes, he's a lunatic. God, man, you know what? You might as well get a Jewish guy on going on about how great Adolf Hitler was. Oh, things went so bad in Nazi Germany. What?
Yeah, concentration camp. It was like a vacation.
Yeah.
White and disagree with the black. They didn't call you racist. They understood there's good and evil in all races of people. You have bad people, you have decent people. I mean, evil people. Mm-hmm. And the blacks understood that. They made up that word in order to intimidate. And if you know...
No. They didn't make up that word in order to intimidate. The word racist has been around for a long time, right? Yes. So what the fuck? It wasn't invented in the 50s, the civil rights movement era. This guy's spewing nonsense.
Oh, I don't know what to say. I mean, people, like you say, the comment section here is, we look at it later, it's no one, I should say no one's putting pushback, but I mean, this is ridiculous.
Whenever they want something now, they use the blacks for it. They say, oh, that's racism, or that's sexism, and all these isms. No such thing as isms. It's a made-up thing.
So communism doesn't exist then?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It's the same language that the children of the lie are using because they were using against you and destroy you.
Right.
Okay, so basically, if you object to racism and you call legitimate racists, that's children of the lie, and you're Satan. You're in league with Satan.
Yeah.
Okay, this guy's a right-wing Nazi as far as I'm concerned.
Oh my God! What he's doing, he just throws whatever he can at the wall and hopes something will stick.
Yes.
Accusations of racism and all these phobias and isms is you would have to know what's in somebody's heart to prove that the reason why they're doing something to...
Or they'll go by their actions.
Yes.
You just go by their actions.
Yes. Listen.
Bigotry. And that's nearly impossible to prove. Like, you would have to get them to say, I specifically, I hate these people because of their skin color. And I don't
Okay, so I'm sorry. Okay, so if someone's a member of the KKK, but they don't actually say it directly, they just imply it. What? That means you can't prove it? Like what? So basically, Hitler, when he's gassing the Jews, but if he didn't say it directly that he hated them, but you don't know what's in his heart. Right? So they set up an impossible standard. You've got to prove what's in someone's heart, otherwise you can't prove they're racist. I mean, like, what? Like, you kill someone, right? You murder them, you beat them to death with a hammer, but you can't prove the motive in their heart. You can't prove they're murderers. What? Look, like, you basically can't prove anything. You can't prove anything. And the thing is, they don't use this standard against their enemies. So the Marxists, they want to destroy the family unit. The Democrat Marxists, they want to break up the family, replace it with big daddy government, right? How did they prove that? How did they know what's in their hearts? So when it's on their side, you've got to have this impossible proof of standard. Oh, you've got to know what's in their heart. Otherwise, you can't call them racist, right? But they don't apply it to their enemies. They just accuse them.
Yeah.
Fucking hell. You just talk about trying to rationalize and defend racists.
Well, especially since if you actually read anything about Marx, which you have, they never want to break up the family unit.
Yes. Yes.
You know, it's usually because there's something wrong with that person. So
Yes.
one of the things that, like, for example,
Absolutely, man.
yeah, one of the things, for example, is you saw I'm assuming you saw the tape of George Floyd, the body cam footage. Have you seen that already?
I did, yeah.
And I was not surprised by this, because when I originally saw the video that made everybody really upset about it, I thought, well, this is starting in the middle. We don't know what led to this point. We don't have the full story. But even beyond that, even without all that, you know, people were assuming that this was a racist act, because which means that Derek Chauvin, the police officer, would have to have chosen to kill and murder George Floyd because he was black, and for no other reason.
Well, just the thing is, police are abusive to low status men.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't have to be black.
Yes. And I think it's also a bit of a straw man. He basically, as far as I'm concerned, it doesn't have to be any intent. You don't have to prove the intent. Just the recklessness of the action is enough as well. The knee in the back of the neck for no good reason is enough. Even if the killing wasn't intentional, it's still enough, right? Police shouldn't be doing that. There should be no knees. As soon as you handcuff them, right, that's it. It's over.
Yeah.
Okay. So.
And
yes.
Carry on.
I said, but you can't possibly prove that, and also it doesn't make sense.
You see, that's what you see. Can't possibly prove that. Don't you see the relevancy? So he's setting up his own possible standard of proof, and you can't possibly prove that, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, look, for example, a white skinhead with a swastika tattooed on his forehead, right, beats up 3 different black people at 3 different times with a baseball bat, right? And he never confesses to being a racist. I think you can probably figure out what his motive is, can't you?
Yeah.
But to Brian, he can't possibly prove that according to his logic, to his standards. They're just apologising with police brutality. That's it.
Yeah. Exactly.
Community for 15 years. So you're telling me he worked as a cop for 15 years in a black neighborhood and protected lives of black people?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Okay, he worked as a police officer in a black neighborhood for 15 years. Therefore, he can't be racist. What? I don't get the logic in that. So I don't get it.
Yeah, he doesn't live there. He could hate their guts and go home and spew all kinds of crap.
Yes.
People from criminals who could be black or not, it doesn't really matter, because like
it's not like he chose the neighborhood.
Yes.
Police are told where their beat is.
If police hate black people, they're probably going to love to work in a neighborhood to terrorize them.
Yeah.
Store owner, I think he was like Middle Eastern or something. and then one day he decided, I'm going to kill this man because he's black. That doesn't make any sense. So I said, well, you can't know that. But the strange thing is, activist groups like Black Lives Matter.
What's that, Alex?
You don't have to know that.
Yeah, exactly.
That's not the point. He could have been reckless about it. He could have just decided to kill him because he was fed up with him, right? He could have decided like just choke him a little bit to show him who's boss, but not intend to kill him, right? The knee should not have been in the back of the neck. Full stop.
Exactly.
Needed it to be racist because they want to justify destroying property, killing people, making people lose their jobs.
No. Stop. How do you know the motive? How do you know what's in the heart, Brian?
Yes.
You can't prove it, Brian, can't you? You don't know what's in the heart.
Oh my God, these double standards are endless.
Yeah. He's just trying to obfuscate the issue, that's it.
Yeah.
He's a libertarian, that's why. And all libertarians turn out to be reactionary bigots. At the end of the day, all turn out to be nut jobs. Turd flinging monkey, that guy T, this Brian character, this priest character, Reverend character. They're all the same. They all turn out to be extremists.
Yes.
The thing is, they all slip towards Nazism and racism. They all do. Reactionary. They're all anti-welfare as well. That's another common trait. Because they hate low-status men.
That's right.
Yeah.
Their craziness, this lashing out. So that's why I think there is something to that statement that you're making. And I think that the people who get really upset with you for saying that, they haven't really thought it through, because how can you know what's in someone's heart, right?
The Bible says, and I know it to be true now, that we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against spirits and principalities and wickedness in high places. So you're either a child of evil or a child of good. And it's all about that. White people don't get up in the morning, whether you're a police officer or whatever. You know what, honey? I think I'm going to go out today and just kill me a black person.
Well, why not? He just got through saying there are people who are good and people who are evil.
Yes.
How much more do you want to listen to? Do you want to go all the way?
I want to go to the Rosa Parks part. Let's carry on.
Oh, yes, that's right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Pass me the sugar, honey. They don't do that. It's just not true. And then
But the thing is that's a straw man argument. That's a straw man argument. You don't know. Like, I'm sorry. In institutional racism, right? The people who enact it don't have to think that at all, right? So it's a straw man. So, like I said, that death could have just happened by accident because he thought, fuck it, I'll choke him, get him to stop acting up. But look, that Kelly Thomas, that white person who was beaten to death by that homeless schizophrenic person who was gang beaten to death by police, right? He was just smashed up into a million pieces. I've seen the footage. I've seen the pictures. It's atrocious. Those police officers, they probably didn't get up in the morning and think, we're going to go out and murder a random white person today. What they probably thought, they were dealing with a difficult, homeless, mentally ill person. They probably got pissed off, and for a bit of a laugh, they decided to beat the shit out of him.
Yeah,
that's how these things usually happen, yeah.
Yeah, because there's no real consequences. They see them as little people. They don't have any rights, so they don't care.
But he's making an appeal to he's making appeal to things that you can't prove one way or the other.
Yes.
Yeah.
He was a criminal. He was on drugs or whatever he was. They leave all that.
He was in a fallen state.
Yeah.
He was like, he didn't have a father either, right?
That's right.
Look, stop. I've looked at his character's background, and he's not a nice person, right? Okay. Very popular with the ladies, though. He had lots of kids. So his thuggery was enforced by female sexuality, right? But it doesn't matter who he was, right? Knee in the back of the neck. So it's just obfuscating, rationalising, right? At the end of the day, should he have had a knee in the back of his neck? Yes or no? That's the simple question. Yeah. And they can't justify it. Look, okay, if some right winger on their side got arrested, right, and had a knee in the back of his neck, right, they'll be ranting against the Marxist leftist government trying to murder us. They would, wouldn't they?
They would, exactly.
But when it happens to a group of people they don't like, they're trying to defend it and rationalise it. There's no consistent ethics for these guys, right? It's their side good, the other side bad.
Yeah, this is the tribalism most people accuse Awesome.
Yes, yes.
Part of the cycle.
That's right.
And this is the thing, like his life, it didn't matter to Black Lives Matter until it was killed by a white man. But before that, when he was on drugs, when he turned to a life of crime, when he was in and out of prison about like 8 or 9 times, I believe he had been arrested, you know, all of these problems, no one said anything. No one tried to intervene. I mean, he was basically in trouble from the moment he was born. Absolutely. Without a father, right?
Absolutely, man. And you're right about that. It was just another way for black people to go crazy and rob, steal, and kill and do the mess they're doing to the country.
Okay, this guy that like you said, he had children. So if this guy who was a thug was involved with his children, would his children grow up to be?
I think he had to pay. He was paying child support, I think.
Yeah, but the point is, what kind of influence would he have been if he was involved with them?
The only thing I agree with them here on is that Black Lives Matter didn't care about him until he was dead.
That's right. Basically. You're right. They are right about that.
Yes.
They have a terrorist attack upon America now, and all under the pretense that they believe police brutality exists, racism exists.
Pause. Under the pretext that police brutality exists. So is he saying there's no such thing as police brutality?
Yeah. Oh my God. I don't know what to say to that. I mean, so obviously
this is a men's rights channel, right? And Brian's talking to someone who denies police brutality, basically.
I don't know what to say to that. I mean, it's oh
incredible. Jesus,
I'm really speechless over this.
Yes. This is a long video we're replying to. I felt I had to do it because of this. We have to show the world how ridiculous these people are.
Honey Badger Radio. I mean, my God.
Notice most of the blacks who get involved with cops like that, they are resisting arrest. They have criminal records. They're on the run. They're not like decent black people who are following the instruction of the officers.
These guys don't know police.
No. Okay. Right. Obey the police. Don't resist, or they've got the right to kill you. Look. If you pull out a gun on a police officer, okay, they're going to gun you down. Fair enough, right? But if you're already handcuffed, there's no call for having your knees in the back of your head. And there's cases where the police taser people and torture them, right? Yes. I'm sorry, right? Okay. I've seen a YouTube video of a 14-year-old girl tasered in the head, right? Because her single mother phoned the police on her because she wouldn't get in a bath. The police officer approached the 14-year-old girl and she ran off, and the officer tasered her, right? Yes. As you think white knights like that would be concerned about it, but even then, nope. They back the police. So fuck you. Anyone who supports police brutality is a fucking authoritarian scumbag, as far as I'm concerned. Fuck you.
Well said.
They put the officers' lives at risk when they don't follow the instructions. And then these blacks, and they're so dumb, they gave George Floyd a presidential-style funeral, as though he was some type of hero. Well, we don't see what they're doing.
They made him into a martyr.
Yeah.
Right? They
did the same thing with that thug Trayvon Martin, that thug Michael Brown. They don't pick decent people because it's hard to...
Yeah, but they're not
pause.
They're not really murdering them, though. What's happened is...
They are murdering. I do sort of agree with this. Black Lives Matter do choose the worst people to emphasise, to be honest. They do choose the worst. Like, Trayvon Martin was a fucker. He wasn't even killed by a police officer. Trayvon Martin attacked a half-white, half-Puerto Rican person, right? And he was bashing his head on the ground. And the guy pulled out a gun on him. It was unprovoked. And Michael Brown was high on drugs, right? And he was just going around smashing the place up. And in that one case, I don't blame the police officer in that one because he was like 280 pounds, right? And he was charging the police officer. And I think any sane person would be shit scared and pull a gun out on him. He was like, so yeah, they do choose bad, and they do choose bad people to martyr. basically, because I do think Black Lives Matter is actually a racist organisation because they always support the black person no matter what. So to me, that's the definition of racist. It's tribalistic, actually. So they do sort of have a point there. But they always, if they do make a good point, it's always by accident.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To find decent people in the black world right now. It's hard to find a good, noble, decent person.
Stop. Sorry. I just want to make a point. But the thing is, if someone's a genuine, right, out of all these three cases, the only the recent one is, in my opinion, it's legitimate because it's a knee in the back of the neck. That shouldn't happen. And there's countless other cases. But the decency of the person has nothing to do with it, right? What's it got to do with? Was the police force justified? Was it proportionate?
Well, that's
the
what I
only
mean.
issue.
They're still pointing out police brutality.
Yes.
even if they're picking out bad targets.
Well, it depends. No, Michael Brett. No, but if you gun down a lunatic who's smashing the place up and he's going to charge you, and he's big enough to kill you with his bare hands, right? That is not police brutality. To me, that's lawful, proportionate use of force.
Right.
That's the difference.
Of course,
okay?
but you know you've been talking about it. The knee in the back of the neck is definitely it.
Yes, that is it. Yes.
Black community. It's like looking for a needle in a haystack. And that's how bad it has gotten. And you know what else? I never imagined for a moment, not for a second, that one day in America, there would be a group would come along by the name of Black Lives Matter, a radical far-left liberal Marxist group.
Stop. Sorry. Marxist, far left, liberal. No. A liberal is not far left or Marxist. What the fuck is this guy? He doesn't even know what these terms mean. Here's another red flag. Anyone who conflates liberalism with Marxism or the far left is a fascist, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, they do have different. What's the word I'm searching for? Well, you know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
You know.
Factions. I don't know. Look, they're conflating things because like this right wing doesn't even know the difference between liberalism and Marxism. Anyway, so and look, Black Lives Matter is a black feminist movement. Anyway, so
yes, that's true too.
Mm-hmm.
Radical lesbians.
Yes.
That I would see grown men and women, white and others, bowing down police officers and National Guard members and stupid Congress people, bowing down to a bunch of fat, black, radical lesbians called Black Lives Matter. I never imagined I was...
What do you say about that? He's somewhat... I don't know about the communists, but...
I do like the way he says lesbians. It's quite funny.
Oh, yeah. But they're all fat, too. There's no good looking.
Yeah, but the thing is, he's against them for all being lesbians. He doesn't like fat black women can be beautiful, though. Big boobs, big ass. But anyway, his mama was probably a big fat woman. Don't hate your mama.
Yeah, forgive her, man. Forgive her, and then God will forgive you.
He's generally homophobic, so he's probably one of the few people who does hate lesbians. Actually, he thinks they should be married in a nuclear family. That's why.
Yeah.
See that in our Judeo-Christian.
Sorry, I've got to make another point as well. Speaking to this guy makes the men's rights movement look ridiculous. Basically, that'd be perfect. His homophobia and lesbian phobia, because I'm not going to call it homophobia. It's a separate thing. His lesbian phobia and homophobia could be used as a cherry-picked quote to use against the men's rights movement. Right there. This is what the men's rights movement is: just a bunch of racist, reactionary, homophobic bigots.
Well, that's why they're trying to say that those things don't exist. And those are just made-up names. Because this is what this guy is.
Yes.
This is what this reverend is, the typical Christian. He's such a typical American Christian. That's not...
I wouldn't even say he's typical American. He's pretty extreme. He's pretty bad. Even by their standards, yes.
Well, if you listen to enough television evangelists, you may not agree with that. You might actually think, well, maybe he is fairly typical.
Right.
Country. That's mind blowing to me. It's crazy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that I think that the reason for this, because Black Lives Matter is quite clever, a lot like Antifa. It's the same thing.
Yes.
They create a nice sounding slogan, a sentiment. Black Lives Matter, right? Most people, nobody disagrees with that, and
But
so
it
they
has
use
no
that.
meaning.
Yeah, no. Actually, there are people.
It has no
There
meaning.
actually are people.
Words.
Stop. There actually are people who disagree with that. White racists, like these characters.
Yeah.
God, I think if the KKK was still look, if this person was alive in the past, he would have tried to join the KKK to win their approval. This black guy, I'm telling you. And the thing is, there are white racists. You can find them online who do hate black people, hate black men.
They usually have, a lot of them do have the Pepe icon.
Yes.
Just a moment. Right, there we go. So let's listen to a little bit more. Oh, God,
Yes. It's exactly. Well, that's what they do. They use words to control people. They change what words mean. They even.
Okay. Stop. Every group uses words and changes the meaning to try and control people. And the thing is, racism, right, is a legitimate word. There's some people that abuse the word. There's I do believe Antifa and Black Lives Matter, they do falsely accuse people of being racists, right? But just because they do that doesn't mean there's no legitimate racists out there. So these people are trying to deny the concept of racism, so they're trying to do racists a favor.
Yeah. These guys are not helping in any way or form.
That changed the meaning of the word racism in the dictionary by sending in a request and made it basically the new definition of racism is now, institutional top-down racism, which means black people can't be racist, right? Because they don't have any power. They've literally changed the definition in the Webster dictionary to that.
That's right. They control you with words, man. That's why when you're born again of the Father, you're no longer controlled by words.
Yeah.
You're controlled by the Spirit of the Father within.
So if the Spirit is in you and someone calls you a racist, what? It doesn't work? People don't believe?
Yes. Yeah.
And we got to get past this word thing because the women who hate men, they use it, sexism, whatever they call men, sexism. They say men are molesters. Men are abusive.
Patriarchy.
All that stuff. They use these words in order to control you. But the children of God, once you're born again, you will overcome words. And you can no longer be manipulated by words.
Right. So I got a couple more questions I want to ask. And I really appreciate you talking. I'm hoping that you're enjoying this conversation. I am.
I'm having a blast. Many other times.
And you have some
the far right lunatics, crypto Nazis are having a blast. Yeah, okay.
Yes.
I did get a super chat from Egregious Charles for $10. He says, an amazing show. Thanks to Reverend Peterson.
Amazing.
Amazing.
All right. That's good.
Okay. So you said once on an interview, or you were interviewing somebody, and you said that Rosa Parks was not a hero because it was some kind of media scam or lie. Or can you tell me the story of Rosa Parks, like the real story as you know it?
It is an amazing story, and I write about it in my book, The Antidote: Healing America from the Poison of Hate, Blame, and Victimhood.
Pause.
Yeah.
Pause. So that's the name of his book. So Jim Crow laws is just black victimhood. Then, according to this guy.
Yeah. Also,
Also,
the media obviously stopped racism, I guess. He should thank the media then.
Yeah.
NAACP have found another black woman to go sit on the bus and pretend like she was just, I'm just tired. I've been on my feet all day. I ain't gonna sit in the back of the bus today. I'm gonna sit in the front, right? But just before they got her to do it, they found out she was pregnant. And she was pregnant out of wedlock. And so they knew that the black people would not fall for that if they use an out of wedlock pregnant woman to.
Holy cow. Holy
Who cares? Who cares? So basically, he's trying to nitpick and says, oh, yeah, this was planned and they couldn't find the right woman to do it. So therefore, I'm sorry, even if this was planned, it doesn't make it dishonest. It's activism, right? Anyone who's black had the right to go to the front of the bus and sit down on the front of the bus, full stop. Okay? And him trying to nitpick that, their motives or how he did it, is disgusting. I'm sorry. And also, but we know why they picked a woman. You know why they picked a woman to do it, right? Because they know they couldn't pick a man to do it because he'd have the shit kicked out of him and thrown off the bus. He'd probably be thrown off head first, landing on his face.
Yeah, it'd be suicide for a man to do it.
Yes.
So, I mean, how would they also know that this woman had a baby out of wedlock?
Yes. Jesus Christ. Who cares?
They wouldn't care either.
Go and sit on the bus and pretend like you're a victim.
So you're saying that?
No. You disgusting piece of shit. She wasn't sitting on a bus pretending to be a victim. She was sitting on a bus sticking up for her rights, you low life. Right? Because black people could not sit on the front of the bus. They had less rights than white people. Jesus Christ. What a disgusting human being you are. And how dare you give this person a platform, Brian?
Oh my God!
Oh, that's legitimately got me angry. Sorry.
You completely underwould Let's see how much further they can go.
So back then, blacks in general would have not found a woman pregnant out of wedlock to be representative of them. They would not be okay with that.
They would have rejected that.
Yeah, they would have rejected it.
Yeah, because it was immoral and still is. They're ashamed to be pregnant out of wedlock. And black had...
Fuck off. Who cares?
Yeah. I mean...
I'll tell you what's shameful and immoral, backing racism against your own kind. You're a fucking lunatic.
Well, yeah, exactly. Like, if you were a black person, like, you would really care that the person fighting for your rights had a child out of wedlock.
You know, if you're a black person in the 50s and you went, this person's standing up for my rights, but I don't like her because she's pregnant out of wedlock, I'll say you're a moron then. I'm sorry. Yeah. I want to interject here, right? This guy is worse than the feminists. And I'm going to say why they're worse than the feminists, right? I absolutely despise feminists. I absolutely hate feminists, right? I want feminists jailed. But there's one thing about the feminists. They don't turn on their own kind like this man does. I'll tell you that. So in a lot of ways, they're more decent human beings than this character.
Love God.
The feminists, right. The lowest of the low.
Yes. Yeah.
They no longer have that. Not all, but most. And so what they did, so they found out just before they did it that this woman was pregnant out of wedlock. They're like, no, we can't do that. The blacks are not going to go along with us if we do that. And so they went and found this woman, Rosa Parks, and they planned the same thing with her. It was a laid out plan. It wasn't like Rosa Parks just one day decided, I'm tired. I've been cleaning houses all day, and I'm going to sit in the front of the bus. It was all planned out. The NAACP had her back. It wasn't a thing. Rosa Parks was not a hero. She's a zero, not a hero.
What? Fuck off. So it's planned, right, according to him. That means he's not a hero. What? So you know what? These guys are right-wingers, so they hate activism. Anything that's successful, they don't like. So
yes. We found that out the hard way.
Yes.
Just an hour ago.
Brian, for example, he said don't do activism against Amber Heard. Don't let the feminists live in your headspace. Just ignore it.
Yeah.
Perpetual losers.
They are. And these guys, like we're saying, this is why they want these women in their lives, but they're not willing to do anything for it.
They don't want to invest energy into it. That's why. Yeah. They don't care about other people. They only care about themselves.
Yeah.
That's it.
They're the type of guy, like I said, Brian's type of guy, if his wife divorced him, he'd go to the honey badger women and cry on their shoulders and say, what can you do for me? You know?
And then they'll go, what can you do for us? You've lost all your status. Fuck off.
Yes. We don't back losers, Brian.
Yeah.
It was deceptive.
So it was you're saying it was a publicity stunt.
Yes.
So,
by the NAACP.
So how, first off, number one, how do you know that, just out of curiosity?
Oh, yeah, good question.
And number two, if you back then decided you wanted to sit at the front of the bus, would there really be a problem? I'm just curious about that.
That's a really good question. I don't know. Because when we were growing up,
He doesn't know. He doesn't know. It means he does. It means he does know. And he doesn't care. Basically.
You know, today, so we had cars, and we had trucks, and we had tractors.
Okay. So what he's saying is, this is translation. The black people had enough status, had good enough jobs. They had cars, they had trucks, they had tractors to drive about with. So they don't need buses. So the good ones, the high status ones, didn't need to worry about the human rights and dignity. It's only the loser, low status ones who needed the bus, right? You had to worry about it. So it's not my concern. That's what he's saying.
Yeah, he doesn't care about the low status guys.
Yes.
That's it. He's one of those guys who hates the poor, even if he's one himself.
Yes.
Do we need to go much further?
Let's go a little bit further.
Okay.
Without an automobile. And so maybe for some of those folks in the city, I know that there was a law called the Jim Crow law that was founded by the...
No, stop. You denied there's no such thing as racism, but there's a Jim Crow law. Look, if you're going to make up bullshit and just lie, why don't you just lie and say the Jim Crow law never existed in your fantasy universe? There's no limit to your imagination, your delusion. Just carry on making stuff up. You know.
Well, the guys like this, they don't have the brain power to make convincing lies.
Yes.
Most libertarians are stupid people, they say.
Yes.
Republican Party that did that. The Jim Crow law was the Democratic Party because at the time, black people were not allowed to really be Democrats. And that's why the Republican Party was formed. And it was formed by blacks and white because blacks could not be members of the Democratic Party. As a matter of fact, when I was growing up, most black people were Republicans. Even Martin Luther King, I don't know about Jesse Jackson, all those guys, but Martin Luther King was a Republican.
Yes, he was.
And he decided, for whatever reason, for the power.
He's trying to say that black men weren't allowed to be Democrats in the past?
I don't know about that. I do know that the Democrat Party was racist a long time ago. But yeah.
Yeah, because I got to admit, I don't know anything about this. So, but I found it.
The thing is, but if you don't know what he's talking about, just don't believe it, to be honest.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Coming from him, it sounds wrong.
Yes.
The power, to sell out so that he can control the people.
Okay, now listen, he's accusing Martin Luther King of selling out. I want to pause here. Okay, this is what I think is going to happen. I don't think Martin Luther King stayed a Democrat. What happened to Martin Luther King, he became more and more left-wing. He became interested in socialism. He became anti-war. And he says, having racial equality at home is not good enough if there's still poverty, basically. We've got to do something about the poverty issue. And Martin Luther King became more left-wing, basically. He was a socialist, basically, right? And this is why he's saying Martin Luther King sold out. Because according to this delusional wanker's brain, he probably sold out to the Marxists.
Yeah.
So,
the Marxist socialist, yeah.
Yeah. Just a bit longer.
And there was a Jim Crow law, so from what I can tell, they did have that thing where you couldn't sit at the front of the bus because I remember for blacks only signs, water fountains for whites only, blacks only thing. I went to a movie theater once down in Eufaula, Alabama, a little city close to where I grew up. And the blacks had to sit in the balcony. We were not allowed to sit downstairs with the white people. No, because I was a teenager, I didn't mind anyway. We had better view upstairs. I thought, wow, this is fine with me.
this is where I'm actually going to end the listening now. But so this is actually very MGTOW-ish, actually very right wing. It's like
Yes.
I'm not bothered by this personally, this personal front. I can deal with it. I can rationalise it away and say it's actually a good thing, right? So
Yeah.
therefore, it doesn't matter. That's what he's doing. So, oh yeah, I like the view up here anyway. So no, it's the indignity of it. Like what it does, it's an attack on your self-esteem. It's you're lower than us, right? We can disrespect you and trample all over you. That's the point of it. Oh, I don't mind. I can just get a bit of you up here. So,
Yeah, it was like
So-
that Den Hollinger, the guy who went on the murder spree. He said, "Oh, if
Yeah.
a woman comes after you and wants to shoot you, who cares? She's a bad shot anyway. She'll probably miss."
yeah,
It's the same idea.
yeah.
Okay, did you want to look at the comment section before we go?
Because because the whole community is toxic, and we just want to prove it. Yes,
All right, 156 comments. We'll look at the first few.
this is very active for them. Normally, don't have so many comments. They've really got the right wing nut jobs. Really got excited over this. Look, so Aaron Pignatito, I can't pronounce his name. Pignito, can you
Yeah.
pronounce that?
It's a Pignatelio? Telio?
Yeah.
Or-
Goes. Jesse sounds like he knows what he's talking about. So you should try and forgive your parents and see what happens. Yeah,
Oh
you
my
forgive your
God.
parents. If you can forgive your parents, right? Everything will be fixed for you naturally. You see,
Yeah, your woman will come back to you. She won't kick you out of the house.
yeah. So they love his vague platitudes, but they don't know. Focus on the other insane shit he's saying.
That's this one. Whatever you believe in controls you. A profound and scary thought. That's feminism and Marxism. It's always Marxism. Women use sex like a drug to hook you. So true. I don't know if I want to read that whole thing.
Once you're hooked, blah blah. So women use sex control to hook you. That's feminism and Marxism, then, or something. What? It's rambling, basically.
Yeah. Oh,
So basically, it says, got to be really careful who you choose in life. Some rich businessman said 90% of your wealth and peace of mind and life depends on the partner you choose or don't choose. So he's just saying choose the right woman and everything will
Yeah.
fix itself. Jesus
that's
Christ.
more hyper agency. Like
Yes.
men can just look at women and say, "Oh, I know she's lying."
And also, no. The partner you choose doesn't magic up the wealth. The wealth you get gives you more choice of partners.
Yes, exactly.
Jesse is what's
I think
that?
he's
A
supposed
black?
to say black. He's supposed to say black, I think.
Was
Angel
it slang
sent
for
from
something?
God.
All right.
Let's see. I wonder what someone responded with. Amazing. See, that sounds like he might be making fun of her. The worst thing that ever happened to black people is civil rights movement. I really do hear opinions on this channel I would never hear anyone anywhere else. Wow.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. So that sounds like approval. VidCon QL.
Or it could be like sort of a vague, mild objection, like hinting at it. He's too scared to object.
Yes.
It's fence sitting,
Yeah,
basically.
exactly. Sexism, racism, homophobia, Islamia are thought terminating cliches and are not intended to give precise information. Really, racism isn't, and sex. Instead, they are designed to indoctrinate and condition those who believe those words. There are such words on all sides, though. As for the right, they are different, un-American, unpatriotic, and also un-Christian, demonic. So beware of using them. I think this Muck 006 kind of pointed out something.
Look how many upvotes he's got. Only 6, basically, because he calls out the right as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Conspiracy's comments are a bit nutty as
Yeah.
well.
If a man has anger, he's a woman. I think conspiracy kind of pointed it out right there. I'm wondering if he's saying that that's a joke or not. But Scott Thomas, just a minute. I think he's up here. So the whole Republican Party is women. This guy pushed back. I like that.
Mhm.
Did you get triggered? Go back to CNN. Tell me who's angry. Scott says, I did get triggered. Y'all got me. I don't watch CNN. Try Aeon. I don't know what Aeon is.
It's QAnon. It's QAnon. Aeon and QAnon is extreme right-wing nonsense. Fox
Yeah.
News, Ben Shapiro, Blaze, CBN, and National Review. So he's basically saying, no, you right-wingers are the angry ones. And he's correct.
Yeah, exactly. I recognize Ben Shapiro and Rush Limbaugh. I didn't know what Aeon is.
QAnon is an anonymous group that accuses left-wing politicians of being part of a pedo ring. And they were banned from Twitter and Facebook recently. They were so extreme. They're like the continuation of Pizzagate. They're absolute lunatics. They've actually turned up at Trump rallies as well, wearing the QAnon T-shirt.
Wow.
Yeah.
So when Trump gets mad and walks off when being asked questions, does that make him a woman? And if so, would you hit him from behind? Scott Thompson, I love him. Scott, I thumbed you up, Scott. Let's check this out. Yeah, anger is totally normal emotion to have. We all have emotions. Jesse is an idiot. Thank you. He goes, get your common sense having ass out of here. Go back to your beta lib channel where there's empathy and common sense. Beta. Sorry, I'm going to thumbs up. I want people seeing me thumbing up Scott Thomas's comments. Anything else you want to log? I'm having fun with Scott Thomas. Oh, yeah. Okay. How about you, AMS? You want to?
I think that's it now. Basically, yeah. I think we've covered it. I think I do. This may be long, but I think this was very important. This has to be exposed. I really wish there was more proper men's rights activists calling this shit out. There's really got to be a zero tolerance stance on reactionary right wingers. They just ruin everything. Yeah. They're idiots. They're just hopeless.
Well, I agree with you that the feminists must not watch these shows because either that or they watch them and they just ignore
they don't watch them. They don't. They watch them. They'll be quoting them all the time. Yeah. To be honest, they don't watch them because they're ineffective. They're losers and they know it.
Yes, exactly. They don't waste their time.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
And I think I'm probably gonna do 1 or 2 videos on this. I'm good. All right, and a few blog posts. And I probably have to touch on it every now and again. But apart from that, I do want to ignore these people because they disgust me. They're clowns, and look. If they weren't in the men's rights movement, I'll just laugh at them for being losers. But they are the biggest men's rights channel, and they're just acting like this. And this guy's not an MRA, this Christian. He doesn't care about men's rights. He's just ranting on about God and men being the head of the household and all sorts of insane shit. I'm sorry. Jim Crow laws didn't exist, or he admitted they existed, but racism didn't existed, blah, blah, blah. What? I've got to say, I'm actually, you know what, you should be ashamed of yourself, Brian, for enabling this crap. But he's an extreme libertarian. That's the problem. And I tell you, one more insight I want to make, though. As soon as someone turns against welfare, they're anti-welfare, cut all ties with them. Because they're always going to be extreme right-wing lunatics. Getting rid of welfare is wanting to sentence men to death, as far as I'm concerned.
Exactly. You know, if you're a single man, if your parents died and you have no siblings,
yes,
and you build a house, who else is going to look after? No one's going to look after you.
Yes.
They're just going to say that's a homeless bum and step over your corpse.
Yes.
So analyzing, it's been. Well, I don't know if it's been great, but it's been interesting.
Yes.
And exasperating.
Yes.
Thanks for having this up because you know what? I would still want to do this hangout.
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Yes.